My grandfather clock is chiming 9 o'clock. It's Monday. It must be time for a live keto chat. Hi, I'm Casey. Thanks for joining. I'm going to talk. I've lost 95.4 pounds on the ketogenic diet. I like to share my story to help others lose weight, improve their health, and regain control of their life. And I appreciate you allowing me to be part of it. And this is a live broadcast. I'm going to try to cover some topics today. How much to eat on the ketogenic diet? What if others give you a hard time while you're doing this? And how to prepare for triggers, of which, none of us are immune. Excuse me, I need to grab a paper towel. None of us are immune to triggers. Those of us who are just starting, those of us who have been doing it for 3 years, as have I. So let's talk about that and let's see what might happen. And good morning. And those of you who are familiar with this is a little awkward for me. There's a time delay on what is on YouTube and what I'm actually broadcasting. And I do want to see your messages. So excuse me one moment while I get my screens set up so that I don't confuse myself, which happens a lot. I do want to say, I know some of you do not prefer the live broadcast. Some do, some like both. I find that there's value in the live because it gives me a chance to interact with people. I'm trying to commit to do more straight on videos that are just, old school videos. If you can call YouTube old school. It's been around for how long? So let me jump on in. And I see some familiar names and I do want to recognize you. And since we have a question already, had a question last night. I had initially lost 2 pounds the first week. The second week, I gained back those 2 pounds plus 2 pounds, but lost those 2 pounds again. Okay, free to be me. Let's talk about that. I'm going to come back to that, okay? Weight fluctuations. Ugh. We love those. We don't. Yes, yo-yo's comment. Okay, let me jump in to something because the feedback I've gotten is that me talking and then answering questions can be jolting. So let me cover a couple of topics and then we'll get into some Q&A. How much food to eat? If you're just starting, like free to be me, perhaps if you're just starting, when I started, let me share my experience. I ate everything. I stayed to 20 grams or fewer a day of carbohydrate total was how I did it. And I ate fatty sources of protein, eggs, and I can tolerate and enjoy dairy. So full fat cheese, full fat sour cream, heavy whipping cream. This is what I put in my coffee. I just poured a mug. And I ate a lot because I really enjoyed it. Because I had been, like most of us, had spent years restricting my food intake, trying to lose weight. I was, at one point, 114 pounds heavier than I am now. So I'd spent years trying to lose weight and was restrictive and unpleasant. So when I started this, I could eat and eat and eat and eat. So I'd eat a lot of food. I ate big breakfast, bacon, eggs, and or sausage. Sometimes cheese omelets, no bread. I just eliminated starches, okay? So I'd eat a big breakfast. Then I'd have a big lunch of ground beef or, hamburger patty with cheese on it and bacon and slather some mayonnaise and mustard on, no bread. Then I'd have a snack and I've gone through this many times, so I apologize for repeating myself, but I think some of us, it stands repeating. And I'm sorry, someone has commented that every time I get distracted by the monitor, I mess with my hair because my hair drives me crazy. So I will try to stop doing that. Sorry about that. And then I have a big dinner. So I eat thousands of calories. That had to end up being 2,500 calories a day. And I did that, but then I just couldn't keep it up. The food was very satiating and very filling, and I simply couldn't eat that much food. So it quickly came down. A lot of people want to know, what did I eat in the beginning? If you see my FitnessPal now, you see that I don't eat that much. And I worry about people following my FitnessPal and thinking that's how much they should eat. I always want to give the caveat. I've lost a gracious amount of weight. I'm a petite person. I'm an older person. I am not formally exercising at this time. So I need less energy than somebody else may. But you can see I don't eat that much food. Yesterday was a big day for me. I had 2 days in a row, breakfast and a second meal of the day with my lovely mate. 2 days in a row. I don't often do that, but I did. I was peckish. It felt good. I felt like that was my energy requirement, so I ate. And that's really the whole point of how much to eat. It is very, I guess, part of human nature that we want to be told this. We want an answer for this, particularly when it comes to weight loss. We want to, this is why programs like Jenny Craig or Slim Fast are very popular. It's because it just says, just do this. Just have this can of smoothie or have this pre-packaged meal. Do this and you'll lose weight. And it can work for some. Weight Watchers, I guess they do points. Do you have this many points? And it works for some. For me, what has been key has been learning, relearning, or maybe learning for the first time in my entire long life, how to listen to my body regarding food. I know how to listen to my body regarding whether I'm chilly or not, whether I'm overheated or not, whether I'm thirsty, whether I have to poo. All of these things I didn't have to learn from the time I was a toddler, right? But we've gotten so messed up on food. And I don't think we need to own that. I think we've done exactly what the food industry planned. It was brilliant. So we have to learn how to listen to our body. And that is one of the things I love about what has happened to me. I'm happy that I've lost the weight. I love that I feel better. I love that my joints don't hurt. You will love it if you are just starting. If you're in it, you can attest to these things. I'm almost certain you can. But one of the things I love is that I'm in control of my food making decisions. I have tweaked my own food intake because I have changed. So people say, well, my FitnessPal tells me that I need to have 1,600 calories a day. I don't listen to my FitnessPal. If I ate what it told me I needed to eat, I promise you I would be putting on weight. And I've said this before, it tells me every single day when I finish, complete your entry, it says, oh, you're not eating enough. We're not going to let you complete this entry. You're going to die very soon because you're not eating enough. Those are just numbers that an app came up with. Don't let an app run your life. Don't let a talking head run your life. Don't let someone trying to sell you supplements run your life. Listen to your body. I think the science of this makes sense to me. This is why I've been successful. It was simple, it was straightforward, and the science makes sense. If you become a fat burner, you burn fat. I had to adjust my dietary fat intake when I stalled out after about 45 or 50 pounds of weight loss. I just flattened out. And I realized I was eating too much dietary fat. I cut back on it. The weight loss started to go. Then I had to learn to eat only when hungry. That has taken a while. And I still remind myself of that every day, like Groundhog Day. Remember, only eat when you're hungry. Okay, that was something I wanted to say. Excuse me, I have to plug in my computer. You would think I would have this down better, but I don't. Excuse me, before the battery dies. I apologize, technical difficulties. Okay, next point. What if others give you a hard time? To be blunt, you just have to say, screw it. I know it's not fun if, you've got, now I don't have this, I'm lucky. My lovely mate wasn't on board at the beginning. See, I've got that flat spot in my hair, it drives me nuts. It's not that he wasn't on board. He was concerned, oh, can't be good for you. It can't be good for you. And then 6 months into it, he was doing it. But he didn't try to stop me. He didn't try to poke me or taunt me or sabotage me or anything like that. I do have, acquaintances that have referred to it as that wacky thing Casey's doing. And I don't see as much of those people anymore, not because I am bothered that they are not on board. It's just that our relationship changed a little bit. Some people around you prefer you when you're a hot mess. Have any of us noticed that? That it's, sometimes I think people who are not necessarily our closest allies kind of feel better about themselves if we feel crappy about ourselves. It's the way it goes. But if people around you are not supportive or trying to sabotage you or maybe a little bit envious or flat out don't understand, getting back to the first point, you're in charge of what you do. Listening to other people is how many of us got into this. We listen to nameless people. We listen to the food pyramid. We listen to our medical providers. Sometimes we listen to our mothers. Not that our mothers were trying to do anything bad. They were doing what they were told. Here, you must eat this. Breakfast is the most important meal of the day. Clean your plate. You have to have this. 3 meals and 2 snacks a day. Make sure you get in lots and lots of this. Eat low fat. We listen to all of that. We don't have to listen to anybody. You know, this is true for any age, but I will tell you, in any gender, but I will tell you, I'm going to guess that there are women of a certain age out there. You get to a certain age, oh, it's nice when your thighs are the way they were when you were 25, but it's really nice when your maturity is the way it is when you're 55. You know, not that you have to wait to be 55 to be mature, but you get to a certain stage in life, you say, I really don't care what you think. I'm doing this. I've been trying to please others for just about long enough now, thanks. So if others are giving you a hard time, that's their problem. They're not going home with you at the end of the day. If the people that you do go home with at the end of the day are giving you a hard time, it's a different challenge. And you just have to, maybe you just have to quietly do what you're doing. Remember, it's not so much what you are eating, it's simply what you are avoiding. So you can eat what the rest of your family's eating, except you leave off the bread and the rice and the pasta. You don't do the low fat. You're not going to have a dessert, okay? But you can eat the meat. Sometimes your family's going to love it because you might all start eating delicious fatty chuck roast and chicken with the skin. Ooh, yummy, yummy. Leave off the breading, leave on the skin. Salads with ranch dressing and blue cheese. So you have to just own your food. You have to own your health. And so if people are going to give you a hard time, you just have to suck it up, buttercup. And that's really hard, depending on the situation. But ultimately, there's no one that can do it for you but you. And we have to be strong, and you can be strong. And the first couple of times you do it, it doesn't mean you have to be ugly. You don't have to be belligerent. Just don't talk about it. You know, just don't talk about it. It's nobody's business what you're eating or not eating. And if someone does bring it up, you can just quietly say, oh, I'm off bread right now. It's not agreeing with me. My last topic, preparing for triggers. They're hard too. And the only way to deal with the trigger is before you're in the middle of it. You know, like I've said before, in my opinion, any negative emotion, jealousy, anger, guilt, any of those negative things, envy, you can't deal with them when you're not easily, in the middle of them. They kind of take control. So the only way to do is preload. You know, say, okay, I know I'm going to this family get together. I know I'm going to be surrounded by people who can eat anything they want and not gain an ounce. Now, keep in mind, that doesn't mean they're particularly happy. We all know that. But, or whatever it might be. I'm going to an office function. There's going to be a carb-laden buffet. I'm going to go see, I have to see my ex every time I drop off my kids. That's going to trigger me, and on the way home, I'm going to want to stop and eat. We all have triggers. You have to prepare for them in advance. If you wait, it's going to be tough. So just prepare and say, you know what, the next time, maybe the next office function, when there's nothing but sausage biscuits and breaded everything and cakes, maybe next time I'll eat something. But this one, I'm just not. I'm going to, maybe I'll have a couple of hard-boiled eggs before I go there, and I'll spend the rest of the evening sipping on whatever beverage I'm going to have. And if anyone brings it up, probably no one will, because most people are not that interested. You just say, no, I actually had a huge lunch. Anyway, so preload yourself. Arm yourself. Spend 5 minutes thinking about it before you're going to be in the middle of that situation. Can't always do it. Sometimes things creep up on you. And if you, fall victim to a trigger, deal with it, pick yourself up, dust yourself off, and with the next bit of food you eat, make sure it doesn't have any carbs. That's it. Now, thank you for that. I would love to go to the board, and I apologize for anybody who's been diligently asking questions, and thank you to those who've been offering. And I'm going to put my glasses on. Choose your battles is an excellent one, Jenny. Choose your battles. Not everything has to be a fight, and some days you win, some days you don't. You always want sweets in the PM. So last night I made keto fudge and keto cheesecake to prepare. Very good. And I hope that works for you. Free to be. Just finished reading a study promoting ketogenic diet in terms of treating patients with Alzheimer's disease, which is very promising. Yes, her name is Dr. Mary Newport. If you have a chance to see any lectures from her, she has a very compelling story about her very smart accountant husband who had early onset Alzheimer's, and the dramatic improvement using coconut oil. Now, I'm not a huge fan of added coconut oil into the diet, trying to rev up ketosis. That's not what she's about. This is not about weight loss for her. It's a different therapeutic use of coconut oil. Very interesting. Dr. Mary Newport. 15 months keto. Fantastic, Janie. That is fantastic. You are hoping you do not need. I just want it there for backup plan. Okay. I'm a Taurus. April 30th is my birthday. And my last goal that I've set for myself is to lose, and I've gone up a little since I started the goal, is to lose to my last goal by April 30th, my 59th birthday. Now, and that brings up another thing. You do not believe in astrology, but this is interesting. Hair loss is scaring me. Can you address this? My hair is thin and fine. It always has been. I do think I remember at the beginning of this that and my hair was longer at the time. So when I wash it, it would, I can more feel it. I do believe I lost some and it quickly corrected. I don't think that is an ongoing thing. As a matter of fact, MCT oil, what's the hype? Good question. I think that this diet is actually pretty good. I understand that protein, and because you're not trying to cut back on protein, can be very good for this. I'm writing a note. You lost 3 pounds this week. Very good, Jean. Very, very good. Your hair thickened on this way. Okay, now MCT oil. Here's my understanding of it, guys. MCT stands for medium chain triglyceride. Now, this is apart from the Alzheimer's piece, okay? If we're talking about fat loss, trying to burn body fat, where does MCT come and why are people putting it in their coffee or taking supplements, whatever? A medium chain triglyceride, and coconut oil is, I think, 70% medium chain triglyceride, which is another reason people have introduced that into dietary fat. I don't anymore. Is because a medium chain triglyceride cannot be absorbed or stored in the body. So it sounds ideal. Yay, I can eat this fat and it can't be stored in my body. Well, that's fine if your goal is to eat a lot of calories and not store all those calories on your body. But if your goal is to burn body fat, since the medium chain triglyceride can't be stored, guess what it has, and you're a fat burner, guess what has to be done first? It gets burned first. Okay? So you're taking in MCT oil, yay, or coconut oil, yay, can't be stored in my body's body fat, the miracle food. Yes, but if you're consuming enough of those energy sources in fat to meet your body's energy needs, then it never gets to your body. I've got a video I'm trying to put together. It's going to take me forever, but I think a really good analogy is the campfire. And I'm going to make a video called Everything You Need to Know About Ketosis You'll Learn to Camp. If you're going to burn a fire, you're going to make a fire. So you have to have fire. And let's consider the fire pit is your brain and your body. So you must have fire, must have a brain. So you can make a fire. And once it gets going, you can fuel it with leaves and pine cones. And they'll burn really fast, correct? Can anyone tell me what you have to do if you are fueling your fire with leaves and pine cones? Does anyone remember scouts or family outings? Anyone remember? Yes, you have to keep frequently loading up that fire with pine cones and leaves because they burn really quickly, really quickly. As fast as you're throwing them on, they're getting burned. So what do you really want to burn in a fire? If your goal is to keep that fire going nice and smooth and warming and keeping you safe, you want to throw some logs on it, preferably nice aged oak. My son says hickory's the best. And that'll burn steady and long, and you throw a log on it and walk away. So that's great. So what if you have a cord of wood 10 feet away from the fire pit? First of all, stop throwing pine cones and leaves on. And let's imagine the cord of wood is your body fat. And your goal is to get rid of that cord of wood. Okay? That's your goal. And keep your fire burning. So throw a log on, you're good. That's like eating a nice fatty pork chop. The fat and the protein satiating, and you're good, and your body's burning ketones, and it's happy, and the fire's going. If you stand there and instead of throwing a log on, and then in a little while you're going to throw another log on, maybe several hours from now, you say, you know what, I really want to get this fire going. Let's get the flame going, and you throw lighter fluid on it. Flame's going to go really great. That's fantastic. Except you're not going to have to throw another log on. So the point is to burn the cord of wood, not to keep adding fake fuel to your fire so that it burns, because your fire will burn with the oak, and you want to get rid of the cord of wood. I mean, does this make sense? So imagine that MCT oil and coconut oil is the lighter fluid. Yeah, it burns really well, but you'll never get to the cord of wood. That's it. So people asked about our joint thing that between Brindis running on keto and me yesterday, and that was fun. I just really like her. Her approach is similar to mine. Mine is similar to hers. She has different challenges. I think she has a really great video about how she's very transparent. She fasted for 3 days, fat fasted, and then for the 2 times in a row she binged after. So, she's trying to come to grips why she's doing that. She's not sure what it is. So I'm fortunate that I've not binged. I've not fallen off the wagon. I've eaten when I'm not hungry. That's my bigger challenge. So, okay, Jane, that's the best explanation about MCT. Thank you. It makes sense now. But okay, so thank you, Jane. But where did it come from? Who would ever want that? Bodybuilders would want that. Or people who have great energy needs and don't want to burn any more body fat. Bodybuilders, they want to be like at 2% body fat. Now, even at 2%, they have tens of thousands of calories of energy, but they're not trying to burn body fat. They're trying to build muscle and have energy and be able to get through those workouts with quick energy. So they're doing MCT oil, whereas carb burners might be eating Snickers bars for that quick energy. Okay, that's where it came from. But what equals on a person, whether they're a bodybuilder or somebody with 6-pack abs, is not the same as somebody who is not a bodybuilder and still has half a gallon to go. I don't have a 6-pack, I have a half a gallon. That's where it came from, I think. Okay, Fatty OJ, I'm doing an OMAD, I don't know what that is, where I first prioritize getting through protein, then enough vegetable for potassium and magnesium, for supplementary fat and proteins. I eat pork rinds. That's very interesting, and that I assume that is working for you. That's really good. I eat fairly moderate protein. A lot of people ask, how much protein do you eat? I don't measure it. I mean, I measure it now because I'm listing it on MyFitnessPal, but that's the only reason I measure it, because I'm trying to give accurate calculations. Some days it's a little bit more, and some days less. But I don't know, and my energy needs are different than some other people's. Energy, I have more energy and no longer go to bed at 8 p.m. You know what? My energy level has changed. My sleep has changed. I still wake up usually every couple of hours for some reason. But then I usually fall right back asleep, and my sleep seems to be more restorative. I know some people have struggled with sleep. I find mine to be better. Okay, so Fatty OJ is at 1 meal a day. Some people are shocked that I often eat one small meal a day. If you go to Instagram, I usually try to post a picture of the food I eat, but some days it's just one. And here's what I'm thinking of doing as well. I know people like what I ate today. I find that, I don't find what I eat very interesting. And so I had done some videos. Here's what I ate today. Here's what I'm thinking of doing. Let me know what you think about it. Since I try to take a picture at least once a day and post it to Instagram, and then I have other pictures that I don't bother posting, I was thinking of making a video, but instead of me talking into the camera, it's a voiceover showing what I ate this past week, showing the meals, explaining what they were, sharing the calories and everything else. And maybe if I can remember how I was feeling that day and maybe how I prepared it. So I'm thinking of just doing that. It's like, it's a series of still photographs with a voiceover. Thinking of doing that. Melissa, happy with my body except my extra skin on my belly. 10 pounds to lose to hit my goal. Congratulations, Melissa. That's really good. I do have crepey skin on my tummy. I do. I'm thinking I'm going to do some patron-only videos about skin removal surgery. I'll do free content about it, but I might do more in-depth on that. My husband and I were just talking about it last night, and I've said it before. I need to have a revision of my mastectomy reconstruction because I'm out of balance up here. Fake, implants after mastectomy don't lose weight. Natural breasts do, so I'm in that. And I'm just thinking about the skin removal. It's not nearly as bad as I thought it would be after so much weight loss. Someone posted to me that it might be because they read that skin cells regenerate after X number of months and fat cells after X number of months. So if depending on the cycle, your skin kind of pulls up. I'd always heard that skin, once stretched out to a certain point, won't go back, but I don't know. Nia says, okay, Jenny, you like the idea of that? I assume you're talking about the video of the food. I'm going to try to do that. Okay, patron only means I have a Patreon account, which is it's really nice, and I don't want to self-promote, but it's where if people pledge a certain amount, it allows me to do a little bit more content. That's kind of what I am. It's actually like a patron of the arts. It's Patreon, Patreon. Go Keto with Casey. Very true, Nia. I'm not walking. Nia says she's not walking around with a brain fog like The Walking Dead. Mental clarity is on point. Inches lost. So many reasons to stay focused and not cheat. It really is the truth. I've often said, I don't remember having like the keto flu. I don't remember having cravings, but it is quite possible that when I started, I was so far down. I felt so bad in here and here that the next part looked like up to me. The keto flu was an improvement. I just didn't feel good. I didn't feel well. Proper grammar, please. Excuse me. I don't have a fascia blaster and I don't have any connection with the company, but I'm seeing a lot of people tightening up. I'm not a product person. Thank you for sharing that, Holly. I just don't know about that. So, check it out. I know I would not be trying it or buying it. Here's something about this diet. I'm going to say this again. You don't have to buy anything. You don't have to buy a food list. You don't have to buy keto sticks. You don't have to buy a special scale. You don't have to buy a supplement, a potion, a powder. There is no superfood that will burn body fat. If there was, do you not think that it would be on the market and would have been in every grocery shelf? Here's what burns body fat on the ketogenic diet is you get into ketosis and you stop being a glucose burner and start being a ketone burner. That's what burns body fat. And you only burn body fat if you are not over consuming dietary fat. If your energy needs are being met by your body fat, your onboard stores. So, you don't have to buy anything. No, not right now, Jennifer. I'm on a weight loss challenge, but before the challenge, I had whiskey and cognac in weekends. So that must be Fatty OG must be talking about drinking. I do drink adult beverages. Okay. Nia, 43, felt like you were on your deathbed before doing keto, and now I feel alive again. I can absolutely relate to that. I didn't feel like I was on my deathbed. I just felt like I might as well be. I really had the thought, do I want to live the next 30 or 40 years feeling like this? And I didn't. And getting on medications, and I didn't. Okay, I'm not sure, Melissa, but so was a tummy tuck. So I'm not sure. Oh, you mean buying? Is that buying something? I don't know what that means. If you're in ketosis, you are definitely burning fat. No, not necessarily. Well, you're using fat for fuel. That's what that means. Keep in mind, if you're measuring, and I'm sorry about my nose, if you're measuring, if you're in ketosis, so say you're using the urine sticks, and it says you're in ketosis, but say you are eating a lot of MCT oil, which remember cannot be stored on the body, so it has to be burned. As Olga, I don't know if Olga's on this one this morning, has put out, when you're taking a lot of onboard dietary fat, a lot of medium chain triglyceride, and it's showing up that you're in ketosis, that's expensive pee. Exogenous ketones, same thing. If you're taking in outside ketones, I don't know why you do that. If your goal is to have a purple urine stick, great. If your goal is to burn body fat, keep your carbs below 20, make sure you get into ketosis, don't overeat dietary fat. Eat sufficient protein and make sure that protein comes with its naturally occurring fat, the skin, the visceral fat of the animal, eggs, with the yolks. Double yolks are great. Heavy cream, cheese. Do not things are not unlimited, but just, and then only when you're hungry. So that's what burns fat. Okay, Frida, you definitely had fatigue and headache, which broth and sodium replaced resolved. Yeah, that's in, as I'm standing here, I'm feeling a little lightheaded. For those of you who remember, I through some self-investigation over the holidays, I was lightheaded, my heart was racing, my fingers were tingling. Concerned me a little bit, talked with Dr. Westman, did some more research with Dr. Finney. I upped my sodium for the next couple of days to 5 grams, which is, for me, taking my homemade bone broth, putting in sufficient teaspoons of sodium, the Diamond brand, to equal about 2 grams of sodium. Took that a couple of times a day. And that really regulated everything. And I don't have to do that every day. I'm going to do it today because I'm feeling a little, so I'm listening to my body. Up your sodium. The reason for that is the ketogenic diet, your kidneys tend to flush water. With the water goes the sodium. With the sodium goes magnesium and potassium and other minerals. And our electrolytes are very important. So you don't necessarily, I was supplementing with slow release magnesium. Was doing that for 2 years to try to relieve blood cramps. As soon as I started the added actual sodium, I don't even have the leg cramps anymore. So I'm not supplementing with magnesium. Yeah. Okay. Now, Jean, 5 grams of sodium, you're saying equals 1 teaspoon. It depends on your brand. The Diamond brand kosher salt that we use, 1/4 teaspoon is 280 milligrams. So 1 teaspoon is about 1.2 or something like that, whatever the math is, gram, 1 teaspoon. That's of the kosher Diamond brand kosher salt. Okay, look at your sodium content. Some salts are higher in sodium per teaspoon or 1/4 teaspoon. So for me, taking 2 full teaspoons of that kosher salt gets me to about 2 grams. So just look at your labels. Don't go on what I'm saying. What do you mean by dietary fat? Yes, Gina's right. The fat you eat. So there's dietary fat and there's body fat. You either got it here or you got it here. Okay, water, if you're not hypertensive, your body, even on the 5 grams, and I'm here to I can attest to this, will regulate its water needs. It'll figure it out. You say, oh, if I take the water, take the salt, I'm going to retain water. But at the same time, people say, drink a lot of water so you don't retain water. Doctor, I don't take extra water. I drink when I'm thirsty. That's what Dr. Westman says. Eat when you're hungry, drink when you're thirsty. He says he's not sure where this 8 glasses of water came from a day. Good morning, Marion. Oh, you made it, Marion. Marion, you are in Amsterdam. Is that correct? Or do I have I think that's where you're from. Holly says I need to work on eating only when hungry. As well, I find I ate to procrastinate doing something that I was dreading doing. Yes, see, that's tough. You know, I think oh, sorry, Marion, why did I think you were in Amsterdam? I was way off. I think it's under the 12-step program. Someone can help me here. It's like, don't make a decision. Don't try to make a decision when you're hungry, angry, lonely, or tired. If you kind of nudge that around, don't eat if you're lonely, angry, tired, or bored. Can we make Balt? Don't eat if you're bored, angry, lonely, or tired. Yeah, eating is a funny thing. We've been eating our emotions for a long time. And we're encouraged to do so. Think about it. We're encouraged to do so almost everywhere. We're encouraged to eat to celebrate. We're encouraged, let's cheer you up. Let's go out for a treat. Let's go to that dessertery. When you're in mourning, people bring you food. On your birthday, people bring you food. To celebrate an engagement, there's a party with food. To celebrate retirement, there's a party with food. The list is endless. So we just have to find other ways. And we have to, someone pointed out that they were amazed the emotions they were feeling that they hadn't felt in a long time because they had been medicating them with food. And she said, now I just realized I just have to deal with this emotion. And it's scary. But it's okay, it's not going to kill you. You know, be scared, but you'll get through it. But don't turn to food. What is that wonderful phrase? If hunger is not your problem, food is not the answer. So if you were dreading doing something, food really wasn't gonna make it any better. You know, there's an old thing. If you have a frog to swallow it fast. And if you have more than one frog, swallow the biggest one first. Just get the stuff you don't want to do out of. I've got something in my life I don't like to deal with, and so I'm doing it first thing, almost before my coffee even. I'm doing it every morning. It's an issue that I have to take care of. I just get it done first. And I was procrastinating it. I was not dealing with it. I wasn't eating. I was just not doing it. Dumb. Okay, does anyone, let me see. My first name is, I'm from Louisiana. Hi, Marion. Yes, you do have, that is correct. That's correct, Frida B, me. We have got to replace our sodium. It's really vital, which is why we're told to take bouillon, because the commercially prepared bouillon is very high in sodium. You know, the American Heart Association probably says, oh, don't take that. So high in sodium. We need to. It's crucial. It's non-negotiable. Resources. This is, and I've said this before, my go-to book. You can see I've got it tabbed. This is my go-to book. This is the book I read where the science made sense to me. Dr. Westman's White Coat video made sense to me, and I started that day, and I watched it and rewatched it, and have shared it with many people. This explains the science of what he's doing. And Dr. Westman and Drs. Finney and Volek have collaborated on several things. And Dr. Westman says Dr. Finney's the guy he goes to when he has a question. And I've got a link to this book is in the comments, as well as a couple of other books. But this one, if you really want to know the science, and it's written, I mean, I've got mine highlighted and everything. They originally were writing it for medical doctors to try to educate them on why a low-carb, moderate protein, the rest being fat diet is not going to kill their patients, that it's actually helpful. And then they said, well, maybe we could actually write this. Maybe a well-educated, well-motivated layperson could get benefit out of this. And so I'm a well-educated, well-motivated layperson. So I got it, and I read it, and I reread it, and I go back to it often. Get a copy. It's worth the investment. And it's interesting. In some parts, I have to read and reread because it's kind of sciencey. So, but it's quite good. I need to do my taxes, but wait, is it snack time yet? Yes, I've got to do my taxes. We're both self-employed. So you know how much fun that is. Yeah, I've got to do our taxes. Bleh. Okay, pretty big. I understand the pathophysiology behind why we need to eat to add the sodium. I do it myself, but all the experts will tell you if you're being treated for hypertension, blood pressure while you're doing, yes, and I have said it as well. If you're hypertensive, that's a different issue. You have to just watch your medications and talk to your doctor. If you're hypertensive, be careful. But it can be done. That specific question came up at one of the support group meetings with Dr. West. He said, oh yes, you can do it. Just have to watch your medications. And many people come off their blood pressure medication once they, a lot of things that we are told that we're allergic to dairy, that you have to be on blood pressure medication, that XYZ, lots of medications. And it might be true when you're a glucose burner. The proper tests and research has not been necessarily done in people who are not glucose burners. So the whole chemistry might change. It's just it's a question to ask. Okay, excuse me. Me to taxes. What would the book be good one to give to my healthcare practitioner if they were open to it, and if they're not familiar with it? I don't know that I'd give it because your doctor might make more money than you do, but I would highly recommend it. I walked into my doctor's office 3 years ago with this book, and I had only lost about 25 pounds at the point. This book took me 9 months to get through. It's a good book. It's not the science behind it. It's the politics and the bad science that got us to the low fat. Saturated fat raises your cholesterol, which gives you a heart attack, which is not true. He explains in great detail. That's Gary Taubes, Good Calories, Bad Calories. I walked into my doctor's office with that, pretty full of myself. I'd lost 25 pounds, where the year before, my doctor had written in my chart, Casey continues to struggle with her weight, which I did. I continue to recommend to her a low-fat diet and added exercise. So when I walked in, having started the ketogenic diet in January, so I was on it probably for about 3 or 4 months at that point, I can't remember, and I'd lost 25 pounds or something like that. Oh, Casey, this is great. She comes in, she looks at my chart. That's great. Look at there, it's 25. How did you do it? I said, I did it actually by doing exactly the opposite of what you told me to do last year. And so she saw the bushes. Oh, you're doing the pie. Yeah, yes, I am. I'm glad you're losing weight, but I'm really concerned about your cholesterol. I said, I know you are. It's because you've been taught the wrong thing. I'm not worried. So we'll check it. And sure enough, my numbers came back beautiful. And then I'm going to see her again. I saw her again, and I asked her about it. And I told her that Dr. Westman would allow her to shadow him because we don't live that far away from him. She was glad I'd lost more weight, but she wasn't on. And now I'm going to go back, and we're giving her one more at bat. Hopefully she'll be open to it. I like to listen to the experts. We have to go with our own experience. Yeah. We can't. Well, for one thing, several experts will say a few different things. Here are the experts I trust, Dr. Eric Westman, Dr. Stephen Finney, Dr. Jeff Folick, Dr. Peter Attia. I trust the investigative writing of Gary Taubes and Nina Teicholz. And there's some other doctors on, but those are like the core of people that, because it's research-based information. Okay, yes, it should work. You don't have to listen to any experts, as you call it, for anything. As Casey says, don't listen to any talking heads, LOL, but be your own advocate. We have to own this. That was going back to my first point, how much to eat. Nobody can tell you how much to eat. MyFitnessPal can't. Dr. Westman wouldn't tell you how much to eat. Dr. Stephen Finney would not tell you what to eat, how much to eat. Say, keep your carbs below 20 or whatever your level is. Some people can, I think, Jean, you're on here, don't you? You can tolerate higher carbs, I believe, than I can. Listen to your body. And keep in mind that you can be doing this for a while, and what you've been doing straight on along stops working for some reason. That's when you start tweaking. You say, okay, because not only are we all not the same, I'm not the same as Jean, and I'm not the same as Free to Be me. I'm not the same as whoever May. And there's Kirby Keto. Love her. You're not too late, sweetie. Thank you. Love my top. I'm not the same as you guys. Not only that, my body's not the same as when I started. Not only is it older, I've lost a lot of weight. I'm now fine-tuning. So the answer doesn't exist. It doesn't exist for person to person to person. It doesn't exist for me going back a year, going back 3 years, certainly not when I was 20, okay? So this answer for me that I'm doing now, maybe it would have been way too restrictive when I was 20 or 25 or 30. It may not be restrictive enough for when I'm 65. I don't know. We'll find out. But I can tell you one thing. I intend to be the rockinest 65-year-old, 70-year-old, 90-year-old ever. Okay? Because my next thing is I'm going to be getting into some serious exercise. That's another series I'm going to do. Is on exercise. Because I don't really, people ask how much exercise do I do? I dress like I exercise. I get my steps in every day, most days. Sometimes I'll get a wild hair and I'll run around the block, which is about 1.25 miles, something like that. I've done that a few times. But I am going to start exercising because I want to. I want to be fit. Oh, another question that's come up. Way off topic. Yes, this is my hair color. This is my color of hair. I have a funny story about it. For years, I've been this color for years and years. And this one day this was before I was keto, I was sitting across a table enjoying a beer with a friend of mine. This was the year I was doing the triathlons, sadly, and I was much heavier than I was now. If you go to my website, you can see the before picture, one of the before pictures of me in a bathing suit. Anyway, so we stopped for a beer because, that's what you do. You go out and you do a training session, and then you go and have carbs. So I was having a beer, and my friend was saying, she is blonde. She says, oh, I have to go get my roots done. And I jokingly said, oh, why don't you just let your hair go like I do? And I went, oh, sorry, you're not a natural blonde. And she said, oh, Casey, you are my friend, and I love you. But your hair is white. It is not blonde. It was eye-opening for me. I always thought it was blonde, but it's white. So it's white. This is my hair color. And then another person messaged me and suggested, why don't I color my hair and get better makeup? Everyone's got an opinion. From Free to Be, Casey, ask Dr. Westman if he needs a new NPI. I will relocate. An NP, nurse practitioner. That's interesting. I assume that's what NP means, nurse practitioner. Are you interested in contact me offline? Okay, message me. Trudy, that is quite all right. You were diagnosed. This is Debbie. I was diagnosed pre-diabetic. My doctor didn't care what diet I did. She just told me to eat protein. I started this diet, lowered my A1C, and she never asked what I did. There's a smart doctor. Now, why would that help? Now, and that's fantastic. If your A1C went down, that is great. And if just increasing your protein did it, that's wonderful. I think that's great. I want white hair, not gray. I want snow white hair. I don't know what color my hair is. I really seriously thought it was blonde. Of course, it took me a while to figure out I was not 5 feet 6 inches tall either. I always thought of myself as, I never thought of myself as tall. Thank you, Kirby. Keto, my makeup, I struggle. I struggle with my. Does anyone, I would try to wrap it up, and I know that me reading questions is disjointing to some. Okay, Jenny, she asks a question. Do I have experience with people who have cured depression? Yes, me. This is a topic that I take pretty seriously. So that was possibly the thing that my husband noticed first. I don't know if anyone here has suffered with depression. And I want to make it very clear. If you don't know whether you've had depression or suffer from depression or not, then you haven't. It's not the blues. It's not low energy. Depression is debilitating. It's insidious. It feels like, for me, and it was not every day, but it was chronic, and it was getting more frequent. It probably started with me in my mid-30s. And it wasn't because I was fat. I'd been fat for years before that. I got really heavy in my late 20s. Between 26 and 28, I'm whoosh like this. It feels like a dark cloak, a physical cloak, like a curtain from a giant theater that just comes and just weighs you down, okay? And it was awful. And I got to the point I could feel it coming. And I would just lay in bed. And for those of you who find this to be a weak thing, then you'll just have to think I was weak. But there were days that the only thing that kept me on the face of this earth were my young children, who were sometimes on the other side of my bedroom door knocking. Mommy, are you going to come out? Are you going to come out of the bedroom? This would be in the middle of the afternoon. And I'd be laying on my bed, face down just about, thinking I can't get up, I can't move, I can't do anything. And all I really wanted to be was be under the bed. It's a very unbelievably weird sensation that you want to physically be as low as possible. You want to dig a hole and get into a hole. It was very bad. Only through the strength of my gregarious personality was I able to fake it sometimes in front of other people. But many times I just didn't leave my house or leave my sofa. And my poor husband, I would say, oh, I can feel it coming. I can feel it coming. And what can we do? What can we do, babe? Nothing. Can't do anything. Sometimes getting out and moving a little bit would help, but the thing you don't want to do when you're in the middle of a depression is move. You don't want to do anything. All of that, by the way, and I thought I was hiding it very well. I just found out about 3 weeks ago from our older son. We were talking about it, and he said, "Oh no, that was a bad time when you were like that. We all knew it was a bad time." I said, "You knew?" "Yeah, Mom, we lived with you." I thought I was hiding it from them. I really was trying to. All of that is by way of saying, I have not had one episode of that since I started eating this way. Not one. And I'm convinced it's not because, oh, you're not a fatty anymore. No, it stopped immediately. And I was having these episodes pretty regularly. So about 6 months in, my husband was just telling a friend of ours the other day, he said, "Oh, I saw Casey and she just was so much better. She felt so much better. Her moods were so much better." Now, maybe I'm unique. Maybe it's a coincidence. Maybe I'm the luckiest person on the East Coast. I don't know. But I swear it has to do with body physiology. I believe it has to. I think the side effect of all of this has been weight loss for me. What it has done is stopped inflammation. It brought my brain back. It gave me more energy. It lifted my mood. It regulated my moods. And FYI, I lost weight. Sorry, long thing. I'm going to write about this because depression it's bad. And now I'm better. So if you are not quite there, and think about this. The ketogenic diet helps regulate insulin or moderate insulin, which is the queen of the hormones. So all these other hormones, cortisol, the stress hormone, leptin, the I'm full, stop eating hormone, which gets blocked by insulin, which is why we can eat an entire bag of cheese puffs, but only 3 hard-boiled eggs. If insulin is spiked because you're eating cheese puffs and then there's glucose, it blocks the leptin. Your brain doesn't get the signal, I'm done already. Okay, Nia, my doc had me on an antidepressant Xanax, but don't have to take it anymore. How huge is that? This is amazing that this is nutrition, guys. This is why I do this. You know, I will continue to provide free content because I feel like if I help one person with my experience, I'm good. I want to be able to continue to do this, which is why I, am trying to do other stuff as well, but I will continue to try to reach out. Okay, Anise, I'm hoping keto will help with my anxiety, palpitations, fast heartbeat, low mood, which could be caused by hormones. Yes. Now keep in mind, oh, hey, Rania. Thank you. I was thinking about you. Now, palpitations, fast heartbeat, make sure your electrolytes are in balance. That is where the magnesium, potassium, sodium can come in, okay? So make sure you're getting sufficient sodium. Try to get in 5 grams a day, however it is that you do that. I won't repeat what I said. Hey, vintage girls. Finally, I holler out to my girls at O2 Fitness in historic Wilmington. Holla. Keto regulates hormones and depression. And yes, all the things you said, as well as, yes, it will blow the dark clouds away. Your energy is too greatly improved to want to lay around. It is like a miracle cure. You know, if I found a way that eating, if I followed the ketogenic diet would make my house self-cleaning, my life would be perfect. And I won't be surprised if that's, of course, I have more energy, so I guess I could actually clean my own house. Hey, Joanne, I'm going to start to wrap up here. I don't want to overstay. If anyone has any specific questions, I will try to answer them, or if someone else can answer the questions. And thank you guys for answering each other's questions. I don't know whether anybody had to run off a troll today. It looks like it wasn't too bad today, so that's good. And thank you for all the support. I want to get to each of you that have done the super chat thing. Yesterday came in, and I didn't want to interrupt Brindis's talk and my talk with acknowledging, but I will acknowledge people who contribute to the super chat. That's very humbling. And I'll show you what I'm putting those contributions to. It will be to good use. Oh, here's a challenge I want to do to myself. Keep an eye out. You know, I have coaching. Karen, that was not a solicitation. I really wanted to say thank you, but thank you, Karen. I have coaching clients, and one of my big things is I like to challenge people to do something that's out of their comfort zone that has nothing to do with food at all. Has nothing to do with weight or size or food. Get out of your comfort zone. Do something this week that you wouldn't have done before you started ketogenic, because I think it's all of a piece. I preach and I preach and I preach and I preach. And I have gotten out of my comfort zone and done some things. FYI, I never would have worn orange ever before. Never. I thought it would draw too much attention to myself. Guess what I'm doing this Saturday, and I'm going to make a movie about it, I think. My husband, my lovely mate, is a general aviation pilot. That means we own an airplane. He likes to fly. He likes to fly every weekend. Every weekend he invites me to go. Every weekend I say, no, not this week. Thanks, babe. He's an awesome pilot. I'm not afraid of it. I'm self-conscious. I'm going to tell you what, this goes back. We had a smaller airplane. It was so small, he had to ask me how much I weighed. Because on a small airplane, when it's full of fuel, everyone's weight matters. I would never tell him. He still to this day does not know what I weigh. So I wouldn't go with him. Plus, when I sat in it when we weren't flying, I just too big. I'm going to cry thinking about this. I was too big to sit in my husband's airplane. The seatbelt wouldn't reach around. So anyway, so he upped the airplane. It's a bigger airplane. He went to a Mooney, which is a 4-seater. And I certainly don't weigh too much. But that sticks with me. I'm going to be too big for the airplane. Now I know that I will. We have traveled before, but grandfather clock's going off. I guess I better sign up. Anyway. I promised him last night. There's a fly-in near us. He's going to go. They're having barbecue. He said, "You want to go, babe?" I said, "Nah." "Yes." He said, "Don't go if you don't want to." I said, "No, I will." So I shook his hand. I'm going to get out of my comfort zone. I'm going to fly in that airplane. I am going to make a video about it. I'm going to share it with you. It will not be live. And I'm going to prepare myself. I'm going to take my own advice, which is right here. If you have a trigger, prepare for it in advance. So I'm going to spend the next several days preparing for the idea that I am going to get in an airplane and fly. And I'm going to feel, not that I'm going to do it, but I'm going to feel good about it. Silver Willow, thank you so much. Oh my gosh, you guys are awesome. Thanks a lot. I appreciate it. And I don't know what Holly had said, but thank you for someone saying hang in there. All of us hang in there. Hang in, okay? We can all do this. Oh, one more thing I'm going to add. My weight, I got to a new low on last Monday. I think today I'm 3 pounds heavier than that, okay? Weight fluctuations happen, but I've been at about almost the exact same weight for the last 3 days. So don't worry about it. I know what I'm doing is right. I know I'm in ketosis. I know I'm eating when hungry. Our bodies do what they're going to do. We just listen to them. You can go to my blog, look at my next goal. You will see how my weight loss chart looks like this. It has never been in a line like this, ever, not for one day. Okay, I am going to take pics of me in the air. I'm going to get a little, as a matter of fact, that's some of the donated money. I'm going to get this little inexpensive sports camera that I can take. And it'll fit in the cockpit and we can do this. And I'm going to do it and I'm going to talk to you guys and I'm going to show you about eating when we're down there where it's food. It's probably going to be biscuits and gravy and it's a Southern cookout. So I'll just show you what my husband and I eat. So thank you. You think the scale is the devil? Could be. But it's not. It's just telling you, you know what? Your scale is a tool. It's telling you better how to listen to yourself. If you know what you're doing is on track, don't worry about it. If you think, kind of somewhere in my mind, I know I got off track just a little bit, fix it. Okay, guys, thanks a lot. I really appreciate the support. You guys help me more than you will ever know, truly. And I'm humbled that you even listen. I'm humbled by your participation. Have a great week. Make it a good one. If you stumble, get back up. But try not to stumble. Tell yourself you don't have to stumble. Maybe you'll stumble tomorrow. Today you're not. Okay? Keep your carbs below 20. Eat fatty sources of protein. Eat only when hungry. And make it a great one. And keep us all posted. Adios.